Hello everyone, this is the second part for chapter 10 revision. In this question they asked me to find the volume for a hemisphere. To find the volume, it's the same formula as a whole sphere but it's multiplied by half. The volume for a whole sphere is 4 out of 3 times pi times the radius cubed. This is for a whole sphere, but we're gonna multiply it by half or divide it by 2 since we have a hemisphere. And you can simplify this by dividing by 2. So the final formula will be 2/3 times pi times the radius cubed. Now we're gonna substitute 2/3 times pi. The approximate value for pi is 3.14 and the radius is 6.7 to the power 3. So this is equal to 629.59, and we have to round it to the nearest tenth. This is the tenths, so we're gonna round it up. It will be 629.6. Since here we have a number bigger than 5, so we're gonna round it up. If it was less than 5, we're gonna round it down. So the approximate value for the volume of this shape is 629.6 feet cubed. Okay, let's go for the second equation. The volume is 2/3 pi times the radius cubed, and the radius here is 12, so it will be 2/3 times pi times pi 3.14 times the radius cubed, and this is equals to 3617.28, and we can round it up. It will be 3617.3. Since here it's bigger than 5, so we're gonna round it up, and the unit is millimeter cubed. Okay, now for question number 1. Here they gave me the volume and asked me to find the height of the cylinder. One more time, the question says the volume of a cylinder is 72 pi cubic feet. This is the volume, and the radius is 6 feet. What is the height? So first let's write the formula. Since here we have a cylinder, the volume of a cylinder is pi times the radius square times the height. Now we're gonna substitute the volume is given, which is 72 pi, and bring pi down. The radius is given, which is 6, so it will be 6 squared times the height. The height is unknown, it's missing. We have to find this missing dimension. Now we're gonna simplify by dividing by pi both sides, so we're gonna cancel them up, and we're gonna evaluate 6 to the power 2, it's 36, so we're gonna have 72 equals to 36 times the height. So 36 times a number give us 72. You can tell that the height is 2. 2 times 36 is 72, or you can just simply dividing by 36, so the value for h will be 2. Now let's go for the second equation. Here also they give me the volume of a cylinder 5070 pi cubic centimeters, and the height is given. We have to find the radius. So again, first step is to write the formula, pi times the radius square times the height, and the second step is to substitute. The volume is given 5070 pi equals to, bring the pi down, the radius is unknown, and the height is 30. So now we're gonna simplify. I will divide by pi, divide by 30, both sides, divide by 30. So we're gonna have radius square is equals to, I will remove a 0, so now we have 507 divided by 3. Okay, so the radius square equals to 5 divided by 3 is 1. And the remainder is 2. Now 20. 20 divided by 3 is 6. And the remainder is 2. So 6 and the remainder is 2. Now 27. 27 divided by 3 is 9. Okay, the last step, we need to find the value for r, not r squared. So we're going to take the square root for both sides. The square root of 169 is 13. So the radius is 13. Okay. Now let's go for question number 3. Here they gave me the volume of a cone, 196 pi cubic feet, and they gave me the radius, 7 feet. Find its height. So first step is to write the formula of a cone. The volume of a cone is 1/3 the volume of a cylinder, pi times the radius squared times the height. The second step is to substitute. The volume is given 196 pi equals to 1/3 pi. The radius is given 7. So we're going to have 7 squared times the h. Okay, you can take out pi from this side, take out pi from the other side. 7 squared is 49 times 1/3 equals to 196. Okay, so now we have 196 equals to, if we multiply 49 by 1, this is 49 out of 3 h. Now to solve this equation, we have to isolate the variable. So we need to get rid of this fraction. To get rid of the fraction, we're going to multiply by its reciprocal. So we're going to multiply by 3 out of 49 for this side. Whatever we do for one side, we have to do the same for the other side. So here also we're going to multiply by 3 and divide it by 49. 3 divided by 3, 49 divided by 49. So the value for h is 196 times 3 divided by 49. Let's multiply. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 9 is 27, plus 1 is 28. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So 588 divided by 49. I will do a long division. 588 divided by 49. Okay, we're going to take the 58 and divide it by 49. It's 1. 1 times 49 is 49. The difference is 9. Now we have 98. 98 divided by 49 is 2. 2 times 9 is 18. 2 times 4 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. And the remainder is 0. So the value for h is 12. Now let's go for the last question. Here also we have a cone and the volume is given 735 pi cubic millimeters and the height also is given, and they ask me to find the radius. So again, first step is to write the formula. The volume for a cone is 1/3 pi times radius squared times the height. The second step is to substitute. The volume is given 735 pi equals to 1/3 of pi times the radius is not given, it's unknown, so it will remains r squared, and the height is given, which is 5. Okay, so now we're gonna simplify, divide by pi both sides, and then we're gonna multiply 5 by 1, so this is 5 out of 3. 735 equals to 5 out of 3 times the radius square. Now again, to get rid of the fraction, we're gonna multiply by the reciprocal. We have 5 out of 3, the reciprocal is 3 out of 5. We're gonna multiply both sides by 3 out of 5. This will cancel with this. We're gonna have radius square is equal to 735 times 3 out of 5. So what I'm going to do, I will divide by 5 first, because I know this number is multiple of 5, and then we're gonna multiply it by 3. Okay, now 5 divided by 5 is 1. We're gonna divide this number by 5. Let's start with the 7. 7 divided by 5 is 1, and the remainder is 2. Now 23. 23 divided by 5 is 4, and the remainder is 3. Now we have a 35. 35 divided by 5 is 7, and we have to multiply this by 3 to get the radius square. Okay, let's multiply by 3. 3 times 7 is 21, 1 down and 2 up. 3 times 4 is 12, 12 plus 2 is 14. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So the radius square is 441. We need to take the square root for this number and the square root for this number. So now you have to ask yourself, what is the number that if we multiply it by itself twice, give us 441? We know that if we multiply 20 by a 20, give us 400, but we have here 441. So I'm going to try 21. I will multiply it by 21. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Put a 0. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Add 441. So the answer, the radius, is 21. Let's go for question number 5. For this question, we have a sphere with a given volume, 26,244 pi cubic inch, and they ask me to find the radius. So again, we're gonna write the formula. The volume for a sphere is 4 out of 3 times pi times the radius cubed. Now the second step is to substitute. The volume is given, which is 26,244 pi equals to 4 out of 3 times pi times the radius cubed. Now we're gonna simplify. We're gonna divide by pi, divide by pi, and now we're gonna have 26,244. This is equal to 4 out of 3 times the radius cubed. To solve this equation and find the value for r, we have to isolate the variable. To do that, we have to get rid of the fraction. And so we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal for 4 out of 3 is 3 out of 4. And whatever we do for one side, we have to do the same for the other side. Simplify. We're going to have radius cube equals to 26,244 times 3 and divided by 4. Okay, I'm going to divide by 4 first, and then we're gonna multiply by 3. 26 divided by 4 is 6, because 6 times 4 is 24, and the remainder is 2. Now 22 divided by 4 is 5, because 5 times 4 is 20, and the remainder is 2. 24 divided by 4 is 6, and there is no remainder. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So we're going to have 6,561, and we have to multiply it by 3 to get the radius cubed. Now let's multiply. 3 times 1, 3. 3 times 6 is 18. 8 down and 1 up. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 is 19. So we have 19,683. This is equal to the radius cube. So you have to think, what is the number that if we multiply it by itself 3 times, give us 19,683. Or you can find the cubic root for this number. Also, you can use the tree method. But here I'm going to find the cubic root for this number, which is 27. If you try to multiply the 27 by itself 3 times, the answer will be 19,683. Okay. So the radius here is the 27. Now let's go for question number 6. Again, we have a sphere with a given volume, and they ask us to find the radius. So one more time, we're gonna write the formula. The volume is 4. The volume is 4 out of 3 pi times the radius cube. Now we're gonna substitute. The volume is 4,500 pi equals to 4 out of 3 pi times the radius cube. Now simplify by taking out pi from both sides and multiply by the reciprocal to get rid of the fraction. We're going to multiply by 3 out of 4, and here also we're going to multiply by 3 out of 4. So the radius cube is equal to 4,500 times 3 and divided by 4. What I'm going to do, first I will divide and then I will multiply by 3. First, 4 divided by 4 is 1. Now 5 divided by 4 is 1, but the remainder is 1. The remainder, put it here. Now we have 10. 10 divided by 4 is 2, and the remainder is 2. Now 20. 20 divided by 4 is 5. 1,125, we're going to multiply it by 3. The radius cube is equal to 1,125 times 3. So I will use the tree method to find the cubic root for this number. So we have 1,125 times 3. I will decompose it into the prime numbers. So 1,125 is a multiple of 5. I will divide it by 5. 11 divided by 5 is 2, and the remainder is 1. 12 divided by 5 is 2, and the remainder is 2. 25 divided by 5 is 5. And now 225 divided by 5, this is also a multiple of 5, so I'm going to divide it by 5. 22 divided by 5 is 4, and the remainder is 2. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 45, I will decompose it into 9 times 5, and 9 we can decompose it to 3 times 3. So these are the prime factors of this number. So we can write it as r cubed is equal to 5 to the power 3 times 3 to the power 3. And I will take the cubic root now for both sides. The value for r will be, here you can rewrite it as 5 times 3 all raised to the third power. And we can cancel the third power with the root. So the value for r is 15. Now for this part, we're going to find the volume for a composed figure. To do that, we're going to decompose it into 2 or more shapes. For question number 1, we have 2 shapes. We have a hemisphere and we have a cylinder. If we decompose it, it will look like this. We have a cylinder, and we have a hemisphere in the top. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna find the volume for each shape separately, and then we're gonna add them together. Let's start with the hemisphere. The volume for a hemisphere is 2/3 pi times the radius cube, and we're gonna substitute 2/3 times pi, which is 3.14, times the radius. The radius is 12 is the diameter, so the radius will be 6 cubed. 2/3 times 3.14, 6 times 6 is 36, 36 times 6, 6 times 3 is 18, 18 plus 3 is 21, so 216. We can divide this by 3 and multiply it by 2, and then we're going to multiply it with pi. The answer will be 452.16, and the unit is inch cubed. This is the volume for the hemisphere. Now let's go for the cylinder. We're gonna find the volume for a cylinder. The volume is pi times the radius square times the height. Pi is 3.14 and the radius is 6 squared and the height is 13. So we're gonna have 3.14, 6 squared is 36 times 13. The answer for this will be 1469.52. And in the last step, we have to find the total volume, V total, equals the sum V1 plus V2, the volume for the hemisphere plus the volume for the cylinder. This is the volume for the hemisphere, and this is the volume for the cylinder. We're going to add them together. This will give us 1921.68. And the question asked me to round to the nearest tenth. We're gonna round it up since here we have 8. So the final answer will be okay. Now let's go for the second question. Here also we're gonna decompose it and find the volume for each shape separately. So we're gonna have a cone in the top, and we're gonna have a hemisphere in the bottom. Let's start with the cone. The cone, it has a radius with 4 centimeter and the height is 10. Okay, the volume for the cone is 1/3 pi times the radius squared times its height. Now we're gonna substitute 1/3 times 3.14 times the radius, which is 4 squared, and the height is 10. We're gonna simplify 1/3 times 3.14 times 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 10 is 160. Now we're gonna multiply by 3.14 and divide the answer by 3. The answer will be 167.46. This is the volume of the cone, and the unit is centimeter cubed. Now let's find the volume for the hemisphere. The formula is 2/3 pi times the radius cubed. Substitute 2/3 times 3.14 times the radius is the same radius as the cone, which is 4. 4 cubed, which is 64, which is 64. Now multiply 64 by 2/3 and then multiply it by pi. The answer will be 133.97. The last step is to find the total volume, V total. The V total is the sum for V1 and V2, the volume for the cone and the volume for the hemisphere. The total is adding 167.46 with 133.97. The sum is 301.4 and the unit is centimeter cubed. This is the total volume for the whole shape. For question number 3, it says find the volume for the flower vase, round to the nearest tenth. So here for this question, we're gonna decompose it and find the volume for the rectangular prism, and then we're gonna find the volume for the cone. After that, we're gonna subtract them from each other. We're gonna subtract the volume from the cone, the volume of the cone from the volume of the rectangular prism, because it's empty from the inside. So we're gonna subtract it from the volume of the rectangular prism. So first, the volume for the rectangular prism is length times width times the height. Substitute, the length is 12, the width is 10, and the height is 20. 20 times 10 is 200. 200 times 12 is 12 times 2 is 24, and we have 2 zeros, so it's 2400 centimeter cubed. Now let's find the volume for the cone. It's 1/3 pi times the radius square times the height of the cone, and this is equals to 1/3 times 3.14. The radius is 4 squared, and the height of the cone is 12. The answer for this is 200.96, and if we round this to the nearest tenth, 201. Now to find the total volume, V total, we're gonna say V1, which is the volume of a prism, minus the volume of the cone. The volume of the prism is 2400 minus the volume of the cone is 201, and the answer for this will be 1199, and the unit will be centimeter cubed. Now let's go for question number 4. Here also we're gonna separate this shape into a rectangular prism and for a cylinder. We're gonna find the volume for each shape separately, and then we're gonna add them together. The volume of a prism, length times width times height, 22 times 22 times 28, and the answer for this is 13,552, and the unit is millimeter cubed. This is V1. Now let's find V2. The volume of the cylinder is pi times the radius square times the height. Pi is approximately 3.14, and the radius 11 is the diameter. The radius is half of 11, which is 5.5 squared, times the height of the cylinder is 18. The answer for this is 1709.73. Now to find V total, we're going to add them together, V1 plus V2, and this is V1 and this is V2. The sum of these is 15,261.7, and the unit is millimeter cubed. For question number 5, we're going to do the same. We're going to decompose the figure into a hemisphere and for a cylinder. Let's start with the hemisphere. The volume of a hemisphere is 2/3 of pi times the radius cubed. 2/3 times 3.14 times the radius is 1.2 cubed, and the answer for this is 3.617, and the unit is inch cubed. Now let's find the volume for the cylinder. The volume of the cylinder is pi times the radius square times the height of the cylinder. Pi is approximately 3.14, and the radius for the cylinder is the same as for the hemisphere, which is 1.2 squared, times the height of the cylinder is 2.4. The answer for this is 10.85, and the unit is inch cubed. The last step is to find the total volume. V total is the sum for the volume of the hemisphere and the volume for the cylinder, V1 plus V2, and the sum is 14.46, and the unit is inch cubed. This is the total volume. Now let's go for question number 6. Question number 6, we have a cylinder and we have a hemisphere. Now to find the total volume here, we're going to subtract as we did in question number 4. We're going to find the volume for the cylinder, and then we're going to subtract the volume of the hemisphere. So let's try to find the volume of the hemisphere, which is 2/3 of pi times the radius cubed. Substitute 2/3 times 3.14 times the radius for the hemisphere is 5. So 5 cubed, which is 125, times 3.14 and times 2/3, this is equals to 261.6 repeating. Now let's find the volume for the cylinder. The volume of a cylinder is pi times the radius square times the height of the cylinder. Now let's substitute. The approximate value of pi is 3.14 and the radius of the cylinder is 10. It's the sum here. 5 plus 5, this is 10. So the radius of the cylinder is 10 squared, and the height is 16. The answer for this is 5024, and the unit is centimeter cubed. Now to find the total volume, as we said, V total, we're gonna subtract V1 minus V2. V1 is 5024, this is the volume of the cylinder, minus the volume of the hemisphere, which is 261. So the total volume will be 4762.3, and the unit is centimeter cubed. Thanks for watching. See you in the next part.